Okay, so let's begin. Так, yeah, so okay, так, how to put all together. Let's see, can I just prepare some so I can see the live video and everything I need. Okay. Yeah, so now I'm preparing material for workshops about urban sketching, and I want to make this video to think and talk about all these details. It's kind of very interesting, very complicated, because I want to maybe like explain in a unusual way, like how I don't see anywhere people will tell about these things according to outdoor sketching, to urban sketching and all this stuff. So I'm making this tutorial. Okay, so here I have, so this time I will do this way, make from photo. Oh, hello, heart you. Yeah, so this time I will show on the photo. Next time I will try make live video like from outdoors. I just want to first do a little rehearsal these things. Okay, so let's say we now we ignore the stage of looking place, but I think it's also important. So let's say like I was walking here on the street and I find this view, and I'm kind of like standing there, or you standing there in the street. So like is first like big difference from photo and from being in the actual place. It's photo is already limited, right? So I have kind of this situation and I need to work with what I have. It's not much, so that's why I have sometimes make some more photos to just to better see maybe details. Sometimes maybe some different information cannot be visible. It's like very hard to see some nuances. Much easier to study landscape when you are outdoors. But if we're talking about result, I think often people don't see a difference. It's just like creative purpose. It's like I know some places they really need to be drawn from real life. If I draw from photo, they will like lost a lot of important kind of part of it, right? So this one let's just use for example. So I want to talk about like analysis. So how I usually work. Yeah. So let's talk this way. Like how I usually work. I find this place and I see like I like it for some reason. I'm not sure why, but I really interesting and exciting for a certain extent, and I like to watch it. I like to stay and watch this view, or I like to look at it when in the photo, just look around, just I don't know, for some reason, just subjective intuitional something. This became like for me like spark to just to make me connected to this, right? So it's like give me a reason to look at it, to draw it, and to show something. But then it's like a question like how to make it like how to do this, right? Like how to do it best way. So you may have some like already idea about this. You learn from some other artists, you watch how they work, and you will like kind of follow some kind of sequence of steps, right? Like you first you draw like general sketch and all this stuff. You maybe watch some tutorials or read books, and I was kind of start from this stage 20 years ago. 20, yeah, maybe even more long. 20 years ago for sure. It was like my outdoor sketching for art college, and it's very it's very kind of unclear and certain like what exactly need to do. You wish to make something, you will feel good about it, and you want to create something will be like worth your effort and time you spend for it, you know, or maybe you want to be proud of it, or you want to make something like valuable kind of, right? And your kind of brain is like so much scattering, like jumping around, like trying to find some kind of useful like approach, of some like effective approach will help you to do this. And interesting, like how I often see so many artists, they will keep drawing this way. It's like eventually you getting better, but how you draw is still so much unclear, so much like intuitive, and like maybe like certain every time is some kind of this subconscious process rather than like a real knowledge of what are you doing. No, mostly of course it's like will be for amateurs, like more you like illustrator or like very very professional artists who like study a lot all your life. You will know many things about design and stuff, so you will better understand. No, okay, so anyway, what let's say like after like 10-15 years all the stuff, I start to have more clear kind of idea about how to approach this thing. And the biggest part here play is how you understand what you draw. So if like say in general, right, so most important is you need to know what are you doing. You need to know what you're working with. You need to know like what material you use. You need to know what you're looking at. So this is the most important part actually. So it's, let's say like if first part important is just your like attachment, like your emotional connection, because this give you actually reason for a whole thing. It's like, wow, I want to share it. I want to maybe expand this spark and like passion, you know. But to do this, you need to be very analytical. You need to be like really like aware and conscious about whole thing, about how you do it. Because let's say like, yeah, I want to draw it, and then from this point it goes all these questions, kind of like what exactly you want to draw, like kind of like I'm asking myself, right, like okay, what exactly I want to draw, what actually I'm looking at here, right? And then we're going here to this kind of essential part. It's before you start to draw, you study view, right? So this process I call it analysis and synthesis, right? So it's like so much logical. So and let's say it's like you need to understand logic and structure of this situation, of this stage. And okay, it's so hard to explain. Let's say where's video? Yeah, so let's say like here on this view, what it will be. So I to analyze, I will like categorize. I will study structure, and I will like make this tree of like, let's say tree. I don't want to read all my file, but I want. But I really have very good words there. Okay, let's say like like this, like a mind map, right? So we'll have like this hierarchy kind of tree of kind of elements, let's say, like, or categories. Yeah, tree of categories, let's say. So first will be is like situation or stage itself, right? It's like what inside our composition, what inside our situation which we want to show. So here we can say like inside it's like a street. It's like this process is also kind of creative, because it's up to you how will you choose, how will you name things, right? So let's say street, right? Street. So what in this street? On this street we have like two sides buildings. Let's say left side, and road on the front, right? So then I will say, okay, have street, but then we have sky. Then what else we have? Have like let's say nature, because it's not like about street. I will think about nature more like about something before street was here, right? So it will be like in a equal or like earlier hierarchy here. So sky we have like some clouds here, clouds. We have like sky opening, like open sky, and let's say birds. So it's just something which I notice kind of in the area of a sky, in this category kind of. On a road, right? So let's say on a road somebody can walk in, like people walking. It can be motorcycle. So it's not like I stand in and draw in this tree. I just show you it's like kind of how I thinking about this, and of course like now it's happened very fast. I just in general considering everything like with this kind of categories. My point is that you creating kind of structure, but then I was find like it's something more than this. It's so many kind of parallel like directions of this kind of thinking process. Here is something not only about these objects, and I was thinking like how to organize it, how to explain it for somebody, how to create some kind of methodology maybe, or explain how it works. So let's say we have a view, right? This view we have is like a narrative, So it's like what we can say kind of this happen here, right? Like is something like what is about objectively, right? So it's like, where is it, which kind of street, which kind of building is that, what kind of motorcycles, is this motorcycles, okay, then it should look like motorcycle, all this stuff, right? So if it's something our brain can look, and it's similar to words in a song. So if you are making a song, there have words, so these words, they will like kind of related to something, kind of you can understand something objective. Then in the song will be music. Music, let's see. So your song have like this meaningful part with the words, all the stuff, associations to like links and all this thing, and have music. And music, like in a visual art, we can say it's like design. It's some kind of this abstract thing about how you make people feel. Not only feel, not kind of feel because they have some associations like good word, bad word, or some like kind of intimate words or whatever. No, it's also about like kind of color, shapes, something which influence your mood, creating vibe, atmosphere. Is this like kind of called design, which is like in music is like no, in a song it will be like a music. This rhythms. Sometimes maybe it's like loud, soft, quiet, like rough, fast or slow. So, and then I was thinking more about this, how to explain it in a better way. And eventually I find, okay, this thing. What's second? Yeah, so let's say all these things, it generally is like two contrast things, like two categories: verbal, not verbal. So it's something you can say in words. It's verbal, right? Something which may have like it's kind of communication, but it's not about words. It's maybe somebody kind of gesture, some kind of movement. You know, it's still communication. It still give you some idea about something or information, but it's not in the words. And maybe you cannot translate it directly to words. It can be whatever if you will start to write and write. But so it's not verbal. And other is about representation. So concrete, it means like no, mostly it's about something like from actual reality. You know, like I say, pencil. Okay, pencil. I know what is. I can hold it. You know what is that? It's have like this like weight, all stuff. It's real object, so it's concrete. Abstract will be something which is may have like it's uncertain. It's like for I will say love, or I don't know. For me it will mean something this. For you will be mean something different, like with different kind of characteristics. Like here is like actual thing. I say like okay, exactly this pencil. So it's very concrete. If I say pencil, okay, it's more abstract because now we have like broad category of pencils. And if I say love or like happiness, is like super abstract. And then what you see what happened. This one very cool. Then we start to have this thing. What we're talking now, we're actually talking about where find intersection, intertwine of this communication and representation, verbal and no verbal, concrete and abstract. So practically I can say at this moment, maybe later I will find this like something more expand this idea, but now it feels like, oh my god, it's helped me explain so much about artwork. So practically your artwork is this in any art form. It's this intersection of four things. So we have this just four categories of information which is lie inside this intersection, right? So what it will be, I will explain. So you can see, like, if we talk about verbal, something can say with words and it's concrete, right? So this will be object. We're talking about objects like car, tree, wood, like mirror, kind of objects, it's a category, this thing. Verbal concrete. Verbal abstract, it will be idea. So let's say you making your picture which have objects, like here we have this we have buildings, we have cars, vehicles, we have sky, ground, nature with this foliage and the mountain behind here, actually I can see. All the stuff is like objects. Then let's talk about like verbal but abstract, like what idea it might have. Idea is like maybe some nostalgia, maybe this remind me some street from my childhood. Maybe idea is like about so many freaking cars, why everybody parking their cars in the streets, and like it will be better without so many cars, or idea like this place will be so much beautiful if will be not this electric pole with the cables, why still using this kind of thing is so ugly. Or idea like, wow, so nice, somebody making here flowers near their house, somebody care about this kind of atmosphere to create some comfortable and cozy atmosphere in their street. You can like maybe you see something happens there, so maybe you can show about like how like children care about their old parents. So you seeing how like somebody like walk with their old parents, like or like caring of them, like stuff like this. You can look around what happened and you can find certain ideas around, right? What it's can be shown in terms of ideas. Then it will go to non-verbal, and here interesting, this is very cool. Like if we talk about concrete and non-verbal, it's category of images. So an image, what is that? It's like if we say people, right? Like somebody here on a street. Okay, but which exactly people? Like this man or woman, is children or old people, is what kind of profession he have, what kind of fashion, like I don't know, like where he take his clothes, what kind of season it, so like he in the hot clothes, or like he happy or angry, he busy or he relax. So choosing precise characteristic of what you show, or giving exact characteristic for some object or element which you represent, it's like a making image. So this image will have let's say like some message, something like a gesture, right? It's like your gesture or movement, but also it have some it have representation, right? It's not just uncertain thing. No, it's very certain. It's like some exact kind of something which give you more precise direction in your perception and your feelings and your emotion and stuff like that. So it can be about people, it can be about architecture, right? So you see, like here we have image, right, of this facade, and we have so this kind of building kind of look, which is like modern building, let's say, which is look like nothing, just a box with a roof, something. And this one is like baroque or something, I don't know, like baroqueish. So it's image. So we have two different image, and so you see, it's so interesting. And then abstract forms. Abstract form, it's a category of information in artwork which is about design, like like purely about design. It's like so clearly focused on this abstract language. Let's say, like in a visual. Yeah, let's back to this picture. I will show you. Let's say, like here, it will here this abstract forms. It will be like, if I look at this building or a street, right? What kind of form in visual language it have? Like this on the right, we have something like this. This on the left, we have something like this, and so we can say this is like double line here. Here's there will be cross like this. So we have this kind of shape. So we can say something is like tapering, or we can say something is like angular, or something is like curve, have a curve kind of shape. So it's about rhythms, or with this. So in visual art, abstract forms, it will be about shape. Like outline shape. So let's say we have this head here, right? So it's just a outline and shape, and it's about lines. So line, it can be like different thickness. So it's also may like work for certain purpose. Like so often I see artists show like volume with different thickness of line, or they show like kind of is closer or more far, something in the distance you use a very subtle line, closer you like thicker line, and many kind of different reason for that. So pattern, very interesting thing. So let's say like you have hair for him here, and you can use like this old Spider-Man cartoon. They make this kind of pattern in his hair like this. So it's kind of repetitive forms, so they making pattern. Or let's say maybe I want to show shadow with a pattern, and yeah, and the tone, let's say we have like light and shadow, so I will use tone to separate kind of light from shadow. Again, you see, it's like it's kind of all this intertwined, work together. So if I use different tone, if different tone will have their own shape. Like right here, white, it's this shape, dark, it's this shape, and etc. It's kind of all of this have their own like bunch of methodics, techniques, and all stuff. A lot of literature you can read to learn. But what is important here is just to first to see this idea about we are dealing with 4 categories of information. Oh, hello, Arhit. Yeah. So, and now, like, let's keep this in mind. We are keeping this in mind, these 4 categories, while making analysis of this location. And this is, like I say, already happened in the head, right? So first I was here making analysis of objects. I create this tree hierarchy with categories. This hierarchy is very important because this gives you model of this location, and this means model is something what you have, you know, in your mind. It's something you can work with this model. You cannot work when you are creating on your picture. You are not working with the actual place. You're working with the model in your head, with the model in your mind. So best you can do is to be like as scrupulous as possible to feed your model in your head, feed your model with information from reference, from actual view, or from photos, from whatever, right? We use these photos, we use nature as a source of information, a source of this complex, broad and complex bunch of information, kind of. So we use this information to feed model in our mind, and then we can work with this model to create picture, to create some final artwork or whatever product, how you name it, up to you. So here we're using these 4 aspects, right? Like first with the tree, this gives you like a firm structure in which you know everything have their place. Everything is a part of the whole. So we have like a whole, we have this situation, and then we see from which parts this whole is consist, from which parts is made. And then it's like a fractal structure. You go from general whole situation, you go to particulars, and then particular became some unit, some whole of more smaller, in a smaller level, right? So we have here streets is like a unit for so many parts. Then if I say people, right, then people is also a very general category. It can be people I seen on the street, I seen with my eyes, so I want to be like very precise. I say this guy from this house, and I draw him because I want him to recognize himself in the picture, you know? Or maybe it's somebody like I know, like maybe somebody from this country, and I just like say, okay, whatever, I believe he may be in this street, so I can put himself there myself. Or it can be somebody who definitely will be not there. It's like almost impossible, like something I want to make it really like unexpected or for a joke or for something. So this is have deal with this category. So you keep in mind, it's like up to you what to do with this. So it's a model in your head and you work with these elements. So objects, ideas I was already explained, it's like what may happen. Images, abstract form. So okay, so then let's draw. So I have now this model in my mind, right? I kind of have some idea of abstract form. I have this object, blah blah blah, and I just trying here to make it more concrete. Find like final look for this. So perspective for me is part of abstract form process. It's just certain abstract technique which is help to make it, to give us like more realistic, or not only about realistic, also about like give it some feeling of space. So you may like give this maybe like it's like an overwhelming feeling of a space which is like a magnet, or you may make like soft texture or zero or soft perspective or like zero perspective, you know, so it will be like less about space, more about some more about some objects or ideas or stuff or patterns you do. So for me this stage of making abstract shapes is like making music, you know. So I look what kind of patterns, what kind of rhythms it have, and instead of just copying, like, you know, like some people like calculate like how many space here, how many space there, I'm more thinking in this approach. Again, it's like this kind of tree approach. I think like I look and I choose which elements is essential, which is like higher in the hierarchy, which is like more like how to say, no, like let's say like we have this electric pole, right? It has these elements, and you see how unprecise I draw it. I just try to capture this first more general parts of it without like drawing details, you know, like see it and draw these details. No, first I want to capture, I want to find out where is this kind of general most essential elements of this thing, and then they will like have their own characteristics. Like this thing it's have its own shape, right? You see it's like kind of space shape or blaster, I don't know, like then I will see how it will communicate with other shape, with this shape, how they communicate together, and how they together start to making another shape which is like consist them both. And same with all these parts, each of them is like have its own abstract visual look, kind of, you know, like this design, and in same time they should to make some unite thing. And eventually we'll create this cable electric pole with this thing, and eventually I should to put it together with everything rest. This is how it works. Same as like have categories here with the objects in my mind. You know, somebody will argue with me, will say like, hey, why you put this in the front of that? I don't know, like, this is how I see it, you know, and is this how I see in the abstract, in the ideas and in images. Somebody will prefer draw, like, don't draw this cable pole, you know, he'll just say like, I don't want, I think it's not important here, I think it's like only disturb, just make like unnecessary distraction, kind of this. For me, I like to put it all together, kind of. So then I'll see like how house will play together with this electric pole. No, it's like the process itself is not like so much strict, you know, can jump in from one to another, but you keep in mind like you jumping from one category to another category. Like is, I think in here, like how many here, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4 floors. So it's like it's object thinking, kind of, right? But then I need to do this together, keeping in mind its design, its like abstract representation, and how it worked together with this. So it's important to consider all this together and more focus on its like individual representation. Like, I don't know how to say, oh, so difficult. It's like instead of again like two instead of be anchoring on a real view, you more like use as ground your own vision, which is like built, made from these 4 categories. When they play together well, then is a good picture. When you consciously make all these decisions, when you organize all this stuff, you say, okay, here will be this abstract shapes, right, something like this, like, then here will be this objects 1, 2, 3, like, you know, like a literature with all these words in mentions. I want to mention this, I want to mention that, and I want to mention it with this certain feel, with certain look. And here I will see, okay, here I have mountain behind and a tree here, right? But who say I should copy exactly this? Here's this, I don't like how uncertain it is. I want to make it more more organized. So what I mean, I will do, okay, mountain here. This, you see, abstract design. So we have this line of floors and behind the line of mountain, and here then I put this tree. So I make this gap between building and tree more white and more clear, and I will make here mountain more visible, you see. So then I will think we have this small cable pole, right? Will I draw it or not? Let's see. So if I will draw it, I will. So see, it's like kind of playing around with these shapes is so big part. In you see these lines, right? These lines, and this line, and this line. Every line you're thinking together, how they play together. It's like require some practice, then you start to enjoying it a lot, and you like learn these things also a lot when you copy other artists. Like I copy a lot of Möbius, Jean Giraud, so because when you copy, it's just like help you to see more precise, to see how he do stuff, and see how interesting he making this abstract organization of these lines, dots, all this stuff. So interesting. So we have here, you see, we have here this lamp. So what we have? Tree, mountain, lamp. Maybe I will put lamp here, something like this. So tree will go here. So you see what I'm doing? It's not it's not there. It's not there. It's not look like this. This is what I make. It's not like I imagine it. It's like as objects. It's there. Yeah, we have like, if we look from left to right, it will be this electric pole, tree, cable, another electric pole, mountain here, and house. Yeah, we can find it there. But you see how much I just rebuilt. So I analyze this, I understand what I see, what I'm working with, and then I change it. And I change using this 4 direction. I change it considering it as an object, as some verbal information, or considering it as a design. So you know, I will like rearrange. I will rearrange, like move a little higher, little lower. Like here, I didn't even bother to check how high this lamp here. I know it will be okay if I will put it here on this high, but it's no matter for me how it's in a real situation. It's more important how it will play together with all rest of stuff here. And this is how you start to create this beautiful puzzles, this beautiful like patterns, like kind of like you making this like carpet, you know, with this like interesting symbols in it. So then, yeah, so then here we have this. And then like on a stage when I make ink, oh, this became just so much enjoyable. It's just like kind of say this ideas, this structure here, which is like I say, okay, I will be here, will be like that. You start to like cement it. You making this like ink lines, which is became so concrete, and it's like wow, start to sound like it's like almost like you really hear it, you know. It became like so so solid. Also, you can read it in interview with Moebius. He says like it's the best feeling he have in his life is this feeling of a good line on the right place. You see, like no, this kind of thing which make me like so much fun. It's this, you see, this, and then how this line going with this line, how then will be this line here with the road. So it became like a kaleidoscope of this abstract stuff. Outside. Yeah, so I can look here. This, look, we have this part here. Back to objects. See, like, okay, what is that? Okay, I study this. I see. Okay, we have like each floor. Let me first organize where is it. So it's like road here, something like that. Here will be car, or no, motorcycle. Here put motorcycle. Here some cars, maybe like this. Yeah, here I use 1-point perspective, sometimes I use like 3-point perspective, but curvilinear, like you can see in my tutorial about curvilinear perspective, so we may do like something like this. Here I'm not sure if I want to do this curvilinear. So everything should be adjusted to work together. And this so hard to explain all this. I'm really crazy. It's like writing a book. Okay, some kind of this. So again, back to what I was talking on the beginning. It's more about how you see it and what you want from it. more about this than about actual view. If of course if you don't particularly like interested exclusively on being like super precise copy maker, some how's called like ultra realism or something, but still there it's also working through this process a lot. So here you can see, but there this one, the flowers, they kind of standing inside these buckets. Так. So here. So you see we have this kind of blocks. Then I can think how to organize more like detailed. So from what these blocks is made here, we have this kind of balcony here. So this will be here. So just like it in step-by-step iterations, like going from general to more particular. on each step see how they all work together. Let's make it longer. So you see how I start to put more details. Just so here goes this. So I like when I draw and more and more go into this stage when I draw this kind of details, like construction with this structure of this stuff here, like where from where which thing go. So let's say like object side of this is to be incorrect, so it should be like correct enough to make like realistic enough, but second side is also abstract. I should to think, like I say, how it's visually work together with all other visual parts. And then I also approach it as a image, right? It's like some particular thing. It's clear kind of what is that. And then I can think about idea, and like in this case it can be some like metaphor. This might be like a metaphor of some monster which people use for their purpose. So yeah, this kind of thing from hell work for you to make your refrigerator freeze chicken and all this. Charge your iPhone. Harness demon. Так. And I believe often it's really it's kind of popular idea for such category of images. So often you may see like a kind of like an archetype after artist will refer to. Here also have this. Interesting. So this kind of now is like this play with a constructor, play with a kind of Lego something. I rebuilt for this situation. I rebuild it like and make it more functional as an art form. Because this kind of analytical approach give you opportunity to mold, to operate with things from real life. And I kind of like before I was very worried about using pencil less as possible, but now I think it's absolutely not important. No, it's kind of depends, like if I lazy to use pencil or if it's not important to be so much kind of creative with composition when you just doodle things, then okay, you can just doodle without any pencil, you just take ink and draw directly. But when composition is really a big part, it's you will just do too many mistakes with composition if you will like draw directly with ink. It will bring you so much stress, which is totally, in this situation, totally unnecessary, because you can use eraser for composition. Yeah. Так, so here also, but maybe we'll put it here instead of here. So you see, from here I move it to here. Then let's check cars. Each car is also its object with its like subcategories of objects. So it says like wheelbase. On the wheelbase have this metal thing, forgot how to say. Then we have greenhouse on this, and then we like start to more details like this, lamps of stuff. But is what is very important in every case, in the case of cars too, is just how it's shape. how its general shape. Okay. So house here, tree. Here we have this more squarish. Here then root. Let's draw. Let's Raiden from Mortal Kombat. With umbrella. Okay, yes. Так. Let's make this. Okay, we have a Tesla car here. I'll try to remember how it looks. Some Tesla kind of. Then a Raiden and God of Thunder or something like that. I forgot. Так. Clouds. We need clouds or not? Don't know. I'm sure here. Frame with cables can be some pigeon. Так. So then I take this eraser and just take out this excessive pencil. So this kind of this approach is my currently mostly using, because I like, before I use like other paper and I will draw thumbnails. I will like kind of rehearsal, prepare how I will draw big picture on a small. But then I say like, okay, why I will afraid use too many pencil? I can just erase it, and after can be totally erased. So now I draw directly on the paper. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's take a lot of time to think how to put all stuff together. Also can be adjusted in any time during process. Так, let's see. Anyway, yes, okay. Begin. Так. Let's use. Так. I have so many screens here. Так. So I need to control so many stuff. Так, okay. Okay, so now I'm at this stage of drawing ink. I can now more precisely to draw all these things to make sure which sync go from where is overlap, and all this stuff. And again, always keeping in mind, more important is not to follow exactly how it's here. I can draw it wrong. I can like avoid drawing something, because it's important to take what I want, what I need from here. This is important, not to copy it or whatever. Let's see. So while I'm drawing real things, I'm actually drawing some in kind of symbols, interesting patterns, you know. It always should be like in one sense it's interesting pattern, is interesting like interesting mosaic kind of lines and textures, and in the same time it's also something from actual world. So when you kind of combine these things together, then it's interesting. It's kind of mastery which make work be so interesting and fun. It's like play on guitar and sing together at the same time. Like when you're doing it first time, it feels impossible. It's like, how can I do this simultaneously? Like moving hands, following all this melody, and at the same time I need to remember words and sing it properly. It's also similar to calligraphy, because it's calligraphy, it's all about these abstract shapes. Так. Okay, something like this. Yeah. Так. Let's take this eraser. Yeah, so now I just erase all lines, all pencil, so you can see just kind of how it works. It's kind of harder to draw for video. usually it's work better when I just have camera and I don't need to talk, like without live video. On a live video is really kind of stressful. So, but anyway, I hope I demonstrate today this idea. I still need to work on kind of how to explain it better. So it was my practice today. Write me in a comment like what do you think, like it was clear for what I say, or like it was something new in that, or you didn't hear anything useful, or you don't understand what I talk with my bad English. Так. It's kind of this. Так, today 26. So I see this patterns, some kind of this lines. Так, where to write? Yeah, so thank you for watching. Give me some feedback, it will be great if you write me something like about this video. See you next time.